Well, g'day, folks. How you going for a Sunday night? G'day, Lefty. Nice to see you in, mate. You're about the only one out on a Sunday night. I'm not surprised. This one's not going to go too long, folks. We were going to do a QSI update tonight, Vince and I, but I've discovered a little bit more information has come forward to me this afternoon, which I didn't really get until after we got back into Brisbane. And I've only just started looking into it, and it does require a bit further investigation, and it does impact on what we were going to say to this evening. Vince has just been made aware of this, and I've said that I want to go and do a little bit more investigation to try and find out whether or not certain things are linked or not. So we will go and give that a look tonight, and instead tomorrow morning, you may not be able to watch it live, but tomorrow morning Vince and I will do a QSI show. The plan at this stage is to do it at 8 o'clock tomorrow morning. I've got a fairly big day on tomorrow. I've got to go and shoot some stuff down on the Gold Coast. So we will get that happening at 8 o'clock in the morning. It's important that we get this right. I'm very motivated to make sure we get to the truth of things in all of this, and for that reason, I'm being relatively careful in what I say and how I say it, because I do not want to either hang some people out to dry when they have no right to be hung out to dry. I have no desire to point fingers or make accusations or carry on. There is a lot in what we are looking at here at the moment, and I'll be very honest with you. It's beyond my comprehension in some ways, and thank God we've got Vince, is all I can say. Vince knows this stuff really well, and he's very good at finding out further information from what is available, and he has been doing that. In fact, he has put a huge amount into it. And if you are at all interested in QSI, if you are interested in crypto, then this will be one for you to watch. It's going to be a show where we will try and show you exactly what's happening, and if we've got that wrong, then I'll be more than happy to eat my hat and have it shown differently. But at this point, there is a lot of things going on. There is a lot of new information, as I say, that has happened in the last, well, I've only received it in the last 2 hours, and it changes the complexion of what we were going to do. So I'm not comfortable going out with what we were going to do tonight yet. So a bit more investigation tonight. I had hoped I might fall into bed and have a good sleep after a big weekend in Rockhampton, but it doesn't look like that's going to be the case. We'll get out and do a bit more. Just on Rock, can I please just thank everybody that we ran into, met, shared a drink with, shared a laugh with, shared a tear with in Rockhampton over the weekend. John and I had a just fabulous time. Thank you so much for the hospitality of Richard and Susie McDonald. Richard and Susie own an aviation business in Rockhampton, and they flew down, picked us up, and flew us back up in their light plane, which was a great experience. I love flying in light planes. I've done a lot of it. But John, on the other hand, has only ever been in one once before. And he was very quiet for the trip up, can I tell you? The quietest I've ever heard him. But the trip back, he was a lot more comfortable about it. But we had a fabulous weekend. Thank you, too, to Brett Codd, who was, another one of our hosts up there, an old mate of John's, who really, really looked after us tremendously well. Brett was responsible for the 12-year-old shivers just between you, me, and the gatepost. So I'd like to thank him very much. I also met today with the two Dezes, and I've recorded an interview with them that'll run, I think at this stage, Tuesday night. It's a very interesting, very eye-opening and sobering interview. It is very deep. It is with the Rockhampton Anti-Corruption Academy, and the Anti-Corruption Academy is all about finding the truth, all about finding where the truth was stolen from us, all about proving and using their own laws and legislations against them. It is a very good and interesting way of approaching things. And in fact, there are at least three aspects of our legal system that I've struggled with and how they've morphed into what they are. And today I found those answers talking with those two guys. It's very interesting to see where the paper trail goes. And the paper trail goes right back to 1844 in this case, with something to do with Queensland and something to do with Australia. And if you know anything about 1844 in Queensland, you might know that we weren't even a state then. So watch out for that one Tuesday night. The Anti-Corruption Academy are doing what I think will be very, very important work for all of us in the future. These two gentlemen, Des and Des, are travelling around, particularly Queensland at the moment, but they are very happy to travel further afield and do educational nights. They have quite a PowerPoint presentation, some 84 or 6 slides, and it will explain exactly how they've done to us what they've done to us, and potentially ways to fight back. But we'll talk more about that on Tuesday night. And we will continue on with the Academy, the Anti-Corruption Academy, over the next few weeks, because there are, I think, many things that we can learn from talking to the two Deses. And once we start educating ourselves, we can begin to fight back. We know what we are fighting. We know their tools or weapons of choice. We know how they fight. And when it comes to the courts, well, we all know we struggle. If you're walking in with a common law argument, or you're walking in with any alternative law argument, you are going to struggle in most cases. Yes, there might be the odd little win where people get a bit carried away, but there have been no big wins yet. And until we have an enforcement arm, we're going to find things. Now, can we convince the enforcement arms to come and join our side? Don't know. Yeah, Norfolk Island, Margot, you've raised an interest. Norfolk Island played an interesting role in today's conversation, and I would encourage you to have a bit of a look at that. These fellas have been down every rabbit hole there is, or at least that's what they claim, and now they've found what they believe to be not a solution, but certainly a way forward. So education is a big part of that, and to learn where they've done things, the symbology, once again, the symbology will be their downfall. We've learned that basically since all this bullshit began. Symbology will be their downfall. And these guys explain the symbology. They go into our crests, they go into our coats of arms, they go into the Great Seal and a great number of other things. It's well worthwhile having a bit of a listen. It's going to be quite an interesting show for Tuesday night. And then in the coming weeks, we will do a couple of 1-hour shows. In fact, we'll probably do more than a couple. The guy's presentation generally runs some 8 to 15 hours, depending on how many days you've got to spare. So we won't have you sit through 8 to 15 hours in one go, but we will break it down for you a little bit. Yep, Norfolk Island will get a mention in there too. Marnie. I don't know. Simple as that. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I wish I could tell you more at the moment. I'm not prepared to go out on the limb just yet, because the information that I heard tonight does have an impact on this. And I've only heard it or seen it from one source. I need to go and have a further look. No, at the end of the day, I don't think QSI are running from anything we know. I think they are a global institution. I'm only talking to one person in Australia and one person in America. They are a global institution, and Charlie Ward is obviously tightly hooked up with them. It's a little interesting that Charlie Ward has now taken a leave of absence for a couple of weeks. Some medical, I don't know, part of the reason why I'm looking. Something going on. So I don't know exactly what, try and find out what's happening there with Charlie, but it's interesting that he's disappeared for a couple of weeks. I don't know, a week or so ago, I saw an SG Anon post from a hospital bed saying I'm going to be out for a couple of weeks too, but then again, I've heard that he's back up doing shows. So hopefully he's back on his feet and everything's going okay. Where's that question gone? People, you're typing me too fast. Here we go. What happened to the Aussie Cossack? I have no idea what's happened to the Aussie Cossack. As far as I know, he's still in the Russian consulate. He ran the event yesterday from the consulate. He essentially, I believe, organised the yesterday's rally in Sydney. He appeared via phone link, as he is apt to do. But no, other than that, I have no concept of what the Aussie Cossack's up to. He's not ringing me, and I'll be honest, I'm not ringing him. So there's not much he can do for us while he's sitting in the consulate. All he can really do with great accuracy is talk about Russia. And he does a great job of that. So he's bringing the news coming out of Russia and Ukraine and doing a great job as far as I'm aware of that. He's not really useful inside the Russian consulate to anybody. And in fact, I wonder the relevance that he'll have once he's able to get out of there and how long it will take him to get out of there. I'm genuinely concerned for him and for Mrs. Cossack. I know that Mrs. Cossack doesn't particularly want to be locked up in the Russian consulate, and I'm sure she's not locked up. She's free to go. She's free to go out and go out in the public should she so desire it. But she is very fearful of the police, and I don't blame her. I don't blame her one iota. In fact, the police have been quite brutal with Mrs. Cossack in their handling of her, and I think she has every good reason not to want to go outside, particularly without her husband. And of course, if he goes outside, they're going to lock him up and they're going to throw him straight into Silverwater Jail, where he will commence a sentence that he was given unlawfully, I'm going to say, because the hearing that sentenced him wasn't even set down for the day that it happened. The Cossack was never there to represent himself. His lawyer happened to be at the courts, and they rammed this thing through, and the lawyer could do very little about it. So the plan for the police is, as soon as the Aussie Cossack sticks his head out, they will arrest him, they'll throw him in Silverwater Prison, and he will need to fight an appeal from prison. There's 12 months, I'd reckon. At least 12 months they'll keep him locked up. So his motivation isn't to get out. His motivation will be to stay in the consulate until all that can be sorted out. My problem with that logic is I don't know how you sort that out from the consulate. Obviously through lawyers, but it's a slow, laborious process. And at some point, he's going to have to come out and appear in a court. It's a hard position for him to be in, a very, very hard position for him to be in. I don't envy that position at all, and I pray that he gets out of it without too many more scars, as we all want to get out of this without too many more scars. So all power to him. It's unfortunate that I think at the moment the freedom movement is being fractured in a number of different ways. It's hard to put the Cossack into that fracturing frame. However, he is a part of the fighting team, and he was a good part of it. Now he's a bit limited. He can't get out and do that we know and love him for, but he does get very good intel about what the Russians are doing in Ukraine. So he certainly found the niche. There's an interesting one. I believe Julian's father appeared at the Sydney rally yesterday, Julian Assange. Where is Julian Assange? Certainly not in Belmarsh prison, is my estimation. I don't think he's been in Belmarsh prison for a long time. In fact, talking to WikiChick, we've got to get her back on again. Talking to her about a week ago, we both are of the opinion that he is not locked up in Belmarsh. Of course, that is exactly what the mainstream media will be telling us. And of course, the British government will be telling us that. And I dare say the American government at this stage will be telling us that. But there is a lot of evidence. And some of that is not, if you like, face-to-face evidence, but it's more writing evidence. Julian Assange writes in a certain way, a certain style. And if you've followed Julian Assange's work, you will be able to recognize that style. I would just say, have a look at WikiLeaks. Have a look at some of the reports coming out of WikiLeaks. Go back and check the writing styles and verify them against things you know Assange put together. So no, I think Assange is not locked up in prison. He may well be locked up somewhere, but in a secure, obviously that we can't know that he's out. But I don't believe he's in Belmarsh. I don't believe he's locked up. I believe he's in protection. And I have no proof to tell you that. Nothing I can show you. So it's just, looking at all the evidence that I've seen, I tend to believe that he is not in Belmarsh. I know he's not walking around freely. He will be in some form of protection. He could be in disguise. He could be God knows what, but I do not think he is still locked up. Yes, Josie, I'm with you. Assange is a true hero, and I'm not even sure that you and I are going to live long enough to really know just what size and scope of a hero he is. I don't know that a lot of what he has done will be allowed to come out in our lifetimes. God, I hope. God, I hope so. But I have a sneaking suspicion that we're going to have to wait very much. Wolfgang, yes, we are coming to the mountains. In fact, I've got to talk to Michelle Palmer and head off to my place in Katoomba. We are going to be coming down. I don't know why we always manage to come down in mid-bloody winter. Very difficult midwinter, but yes, we will be down. July, and this stage of the game, it looks like there are a few things happening in June, which might mean we come down a little bit earlier. I have some personal things to attend to in June with my daughter and a court case. So I've got to hang pretty close to Brisbane in case I need to testify in said court case. And I'll be here to support my daughter through that as well as we try to... can't say what I want to say. Let's say I'm going to that court looking for justice. I wonder if we'll get it. But yeah, anyway. Veronique, just back from Gladstone. No, Gladstone? Frankston. There you go. I flew over Gladstone today. Hello to everybody in Gladstone. Yep, Frankston, good day yesterday there. A bit wet. I was speaking to Darren after the event. He was very happy with the turnout, although it was smaller than hoped. But the weather was pretty diabolical, I think, down there in Melbourne yesterday. So I think they did pretty well to get a couple of hundred there. And there were other events around Melbourne as well. I'm not sure exactly how well those were attended, but I know the Frankston one did go off. One of the most interesting things that Darren had to report after that meeting was the local police who turned up. There were about 10. And he spoke to all of them individually, and they were all very polite, very nice, very much interested in what was being said. Something that was done, I think, in Frankston. It was also done in a couple of other places I saw through Facebook chats today, where police officers turned up at the event, the We Are Ready events yesterday around the country, and were taken to the forests of the fallen where police officers are named. This was a very sobering moment for a number of police officers. In fact, one of the events had 5 local police who were registered in the Forest of the Fallen. And the police who attended that rally were taken to that site and shown those, and they were very respectful. A number of them have expressed a great desire to learn more about the movement. Now, they could be just trying to infiltrate, but we are not a movement that's afraid of infiltrators. They tend to expose themselves very quickly, and they tend to leave the organisations without being asked because they know we're onto them. So good luck to anybody who tries to come in like that. You will expose yourself because the people in the My Place network particularly are very switched on and very aware of people coming in and trying to break down what is being built up. And you will never do it. You will never do it. The spirit of My Place is everywhere in this country. I am so pleased. Yesterday in Rockhampton, not only was there the mention of the new Rockhampton My Place, but can I tell you, Mel and the gang from the Yeppoon My Place came over. They looked absolutely brilliant in their shirts. Now, that's 2 My Places within about 30 or 40 kilometres of each other. These are going to become dynamo places in central Queensland. Gladstone is now starting up their My Place. I met James, I want to say his name was, yesterday, and we'll come to Gladstone when John and I make our way north in the great bus trip of 2023. It's going to be a trip where we will call in everywhere, and we'll drop into every My Place in Queensland if that's what it takes. And if you want to have one in your town, let us know. We'll line up. Now, John and I need to go and take this little bus for a bit of a drive first, just to see whether or not it's going to handle a 4,000 kilometre return trip to far north Queensland and back. So we'll probably wind up doing that in the next few weeks and go for a weekend somewhere just to make sure that it works. After that, we will do a run up north and back over 2 weeks, and then we will head south into Katoomba and then for South Australia and Victoria along the way. So I'm going to have a bit of a chat with Michelle Palmer. There might be an opportunity to do a couple of things at her place, my place rather, which is her place, and we might start putting up something that I've been very keen to have on the Voice of Freedom for a long time, and that's young Australian talent, singer-songwriters, musicians, people who are creating stuff and are shunning the music business. Particularly, they don't want to get into the big contracts. They don't want to have to sell their soul to sell a record. So I'm very keen to give those sorts of people a hand up. And in fact, I met one of them yesterday, Richard and Susie, the family that owned the plane that flew us up there today and back today, have a daughter in Sydney who's a singer. In fact, 2 daughters in Sydney who are singers, and one's in a band. We'll see whether or not we can't get them out to come and have a bit of a go on the open mic one night too. So yeah, it's going to be a great event. When we get down to my place. I've only been promising for 12 months now. Sorry, Shell. But yeah, we'll be down there in July, and it'll be a cold night, but it's a very warm place up there in Katoomba. She's got an open fire and a very intimate little atmosphere where I would say probably one of the most intimate my places in the country. And I'm really looking forward to going and being part of that. I'll just have a scan down, see if there's much else here on a Sunday night. I don't want to hold you up too long on a Sunday night. Freezing already in your part of the world, Sandy. That's not good. Well, I've got new. You could go out and cuddle a donkey. They'd be warm. Okay, bit big. But listen, you could cuddle up to Baz. He's a bit bigger than a donkey. Just saying. All right. Let me have a look here. Did I hear Matthew's speech about the weather modification happening on the Gold Coast? That's interesting. No, I haven't seen that speech, but I will find it. And 28 cooked by microwaves. So I was given another report that I had a little quick look through this morning. In fact, there is a number of links in there to follow that are very enlightening. They are patent links to patents that are designed to fuck with our heads, is all I can say. They have the patents for both electromagnetic and audio devices that, as we all know, they've used the acoustic devices on us in Canberra. That also played into a microwave usage as well. Well, now we know who the patents for those sorts of devices came from. US universities, one doctor in particular. There is a lot of mind control or brain manipulation patents that we have had hidden from us, folks. A lot of them. I will bring those to you later this week. Just show you where you can find them and go through them yourself. Patent reading is pretty dry stuff, but very enlightening when you get to the summaries of what's doing what and where. Very enlightening. So the secret technologies that have been hidden from us through the US Patent Office are significant. They are electromagnetic, they are oral, they are, oh God, there's about 6 or 7 different patents for ways to alter using frequencies to alter your mind, to bring on different things in your head, and to create a pathway to program you, like patents on how to program you. I shit you not, it's all there. Very, very frightening stuff. Sunflower, you wonderful lady, thank you so much for your donation. Don't know what we'd do without you. Your hat will be with you this week, I promise. And Blue Balls, well, thank you very much too. I hope you get some relief. The $50 could have gone a long way your way, maybe. I don't know. That's a bit rude. Sorry about that. Let's have a bit of a look down here. Bloody cold in Canberra, says Tanya. Low of -2. Yes, I heard Canberra had a great turnout for the Forest of the Fallen. I'm not sure that the Galactic Larrikins got out to it because it was fairly cold in Canberra yesterday morning too, and I think they worked the night before, so there might have been a bit of sleeping in involved. But or maybe not. I could be saying horrible things about them, and I don't mean that. So yeah, bloody cold in Canberra. Isn't that to be expected? It's bloody cold in Queensland, can I tell you? Even in Rockhampton. I took up the Cali jacket because it's the best wind cheater I own. It's about this thick and very, very warm. I needed it in Rockhampton. Unbelievable. Couldn't believe it. And I took up 2 pairs of shorts and never got into a pair of them once. So, yeah, it is a little bit chilly. The days are beautiful up there, though. 27 degrees, just not a cloud in the sky. Stunning, stunning, stunning. Queensland in winter. Where else would you want to be, folks? I ask you. Oh, well, we're going to be in Katoomba, and Victoria, and South Australia in winter. But I know the love of you folks keeps us warm, because we walk into your groups and it is just warmth, love and warmth. And I can't thank you enough for giving that to us. It's changing our life, changed my life. The last 3 years has just been such a change in my life. And it's because of you folks, not because I've done anything. It's because you, my interactions with you. And I love meeting you. I'll sit down and talk to you until we can't talk anymore. So never be shy about coming up. There were a few people who said yesterday, "Oh, I'm a bit worried about coming up and saying it." No, never be shy about coming up and saying hello. There are no airs and graces on this little black duck. You can come and say good day, slap me on the back, carry on. We're all in this fight together. We are brothers and sisters in arms, and I'm proud to be shoulder to shoulder with you. Let's keep it going. There are good things coming. And there's a lot of shit coming. A lot of shit. So we're going to need each other. Just remember that. Okay? We're going to need each other. And that's where my place is so important. Get into a my place, because once you are in a my place, you have a group around you that will keep you, protect you, support you, educate you, feed you. And all you have to do is play your role. Be a good part of the community. Work for the community. Help others. And through others being helped, we help ourselves. So, my place. Get one in your town if you don't have one yet. We will come. We will help. We will do whatever we can. In fact, we're trying to extract Darren Bergworth and bring him out on a 2-week tour around the place. But trying to get the guy to leave Melbourne is really hard. He's a busy man. He's an important man. Got a lot going on. But we will get him to every my place around the country eventually. And if he doesn't come, I will. And I will bring whoever is wanting to come with me. That we'll do with John. I plan on stopping at every my place in Queensland. If you are already open, already have a venue, already running, great. If you are thinking about doing it, if you don't have a bespoke venue, don't worry about it. If you're talking about getting a my place together, and maybe your town is going to be somewhere we'll drive through around lunchtime, then let's stop at a pub and have a lunch. Let's talk about it. Let's get it moving. Because I know everywhere that a my place takes seed, unity and community benefit. Unity grows, community benefits. So it's a way forward, folks. I think it's the best way forward for us all. No hopium involved with my place. None. It's hard work supporting everybody. But boy, it's very rewarding work, and you are working with people who are so dedicated to the same thing you are. It's very easy work to do at the end of the day. It's can be hard, can be long hours, but trust me, it is some of the most rewarding work you'll ever do. And establishing a my place in your town could well be a legacy that is going to continue well beyond our days. I think my place can be built into something that big. So bear that in mind. Josie believes that Julian Assange is safely on a ship. I would say a ship would be the best place to keep him. Yep. Very, very difficult to go and get seen there. Coolum and Nambour, my place, just started up. Yep. Nambour, I think, having their first meeting early July. I want to say it's the 3rd of July at 10 a.m. I will get Camillo on and tell me all about that one. It's a morning meeting in Nambour. They have a venue already, just on the outskirts of Nambour. So that's going to be awesome. And yes, we will be coming to Noosa and Coolum by the sound of it. So Noosa is my place, is trundling along quite nicely. Great to see Coolum setting up. We'd love to get one in Caloundra. What about one out in the hinterlands on the Sunshine Coast there? What about up in Mullaney or maybe Palmwoods or Mapleton? You know, there's some beautiful areas up there. Get a lot of grey nomads, and who knows? If you've got a My Place up there, you just might get a few more drop-ins. So yeah, there's My Places popping up everywhere. And if you want one in your town and you don't know how to do it, please go to myplaceaustralia.org or go to My Place Frankston on Facebook. Just search that and then type in, you want to start one up in whatever area you are. Somebody will get back to you with details on how you can do it. There is almost a blueprint. And it's best that you follow the way I think that Darren has and his team have structured this. They've been doing it now for a couple of years. They found the pitfalls, they found the shortfalls, and they found the way to really make things happen and happen quickly. So, yeah, let's do that. Happy. I don't have a Grindr account. Is anybody surprised? I'm just trying to think. There are some big celebrities who run Grindr accounts and are very open about it, aren't there? Stephen Fry being the only one I can immediately think of off the top of my head. But I do know that there are more floating around. Any more questions? Sunflower, yes. Elsa, I couldn't agree more. Sunflower, you have no idea how often Sunflower's donations have been able to help Laura and I have dinner, just between you, me, and the Gatepost. So I'm touched, really touched. Thank you so much. And shut up, Carly, and I wind up bawling again. Assange is going to convict the very deep state Satanists on the planet. Yes, I think he was the one who has got all the information. I think everybody forgot about the WikiLeaks whistleblower dump site. Okay, everybody forgot about that when Assange was, thrown into or ran to the Ecuadorian embassy in London. Did that WikiLeaks Dropbox close? Nope. How many more whistleblowers do you think threw stuff in there beyond Seth Rich? You might remember Seth Rich was the Democratic Party professional in charge of their online business, was murdered, robbed in the street, although they didn't take anything. 4 o'clock in the morning. They didn't take his wallet. They didn't take his shoes. They did take a USB that was supposedly containing all the secrets. But he uploaded that and others, I believe, into the WikiLeaks system. Now, what if there were other whistleblowers in the last 10 years? Let's face it, there would have been. And they used that WikiLeaks Dropbox. That's where it's hidden. So, yeah. Sick, cruel, despicable monsters. That's exactly how you put it, Sunflower. Exactly how you put it. Sick, cruel, despicable monsters. There will be no mercy. None. I had a conversation with somebody before I went up to Rockhampton who was saying, oh, look, if you believe in God, then, you'll believe in forgiveness. There will be mercy. God shows no mercy to those who abuse the laws of creation, abuse his creation. There is no mercy. God is a hard God. I've had conversations with a lot of people who say, oh, look, if God was a good God, why are children still dying? And why are, we still going through all this? Well, God never said he was going to fix everything for us. God has always said we are free to make our own decisions. He also says that we are to deal with the consequences of our decisions. God is not there to be saving you from the little things in your day. God is there to save you from the bigger things that are coming for us all. And if you do not look after, I suppose, God's word in the little ways, then you can't expect to be helped when God is helping in the big ways. So there is an interesting argument put forward by atheists that suggests that, what sort of a cruel God would you, bow down to? Nobody ever said God wasn't cruel. Nobody ever said life was easy. Certainly not God. So we have to take responsibility for what has been created in our world. And we have to stop it. Yes, with God's help. Yes, with faith. Yes, with prayer. But with action. Our action. That's what God's looking for. God's looking for more of us to stand up. More of us to believe. More of us to truly understand this is a biblical good versus evil battle. And little things in a battle happen. Big things in battles happen. Children die in battles all the time. Yes, does that make God cruel? No, God didn't fire the weapon. God is trying to get us to wake up to ourselves so that we stop the bastards. We don't give the bastards the control of the weapons. But it requires us to stand up. We are the white hats, folks. We are the white hats. That's how we have to view this. It's all great to have the hopium of the white hat dream. But at the end of the day, it's people like you, like me, the people that turn up to events like the ones yesterday and my places around Australia and the events that'll happen next week and the week after that and the week after that. That's what we have to build. We have to get more. The seesaw is not yet tipped with the weight on our side. That's what God wants from us. He needs us to wake more people up. Because otherwise it's just going to look like a little shit show to a lot of people, and us will be saying, oh, that's God doing that. And the rest of the world's going to go, is it? Well, no. The God I think that exists teaches, and sometimes those lessons are hard. If you don't learn those lessons, you are doomed to repeat them. God doesn't want to punish you like that. He's trying to teach us. And if we don't learn the lesson, he will try and teach us again. Have you ever noticed in your life that problems you sort of put on the back burner and I'm not going to deal with that, not going to deal with that, not going to deal with that, not going to play with that, and you walk away from it for years. And then one day something unexpected happens and this whole thing comes back and bites you on the ass again. It rears its ugly head. And instead of it being, $1,500 fine or whatever, all of a sudden it's a $10,000 fine or loadings on for not paying fines or whatever the hell they do. You've still got to deal with it. No point in ignoring it. No point in putting your head in the sand, because when you've got the head in the sand, your ass is up in the air and you know damn well what they're going to do with your ass while it's in the air. So let's try not to go down that path. Let's get more unity. Let's build our community. And let's get more people on our side of the seesaw. We need more weight on our side of the seesaw. And then God might show just how powerful he is. Fingers crossed. Yes, please God, the military are going to come in and give us an enforcement arm. Yes, please God, the military are going to come in and give us a judicial system that is not corrupt, is not based on maritime law, is not based on other fanciful bullshit. And the only way that that can happen is military law. Briefly, but very hard. The other thing about military law is you think the laws currently are difficult. Military law is much harder, much shorter trials, much more severe sentences, right? And that's what it's going to take. So, are there signs of Australian military standing up for us? No. Not openly, no. Yes, we are seeing a lot of aircraft flying around. Yes, we are seeing a lot of troop movements all around the world. Yes, we are seeing a lot of bullshit between America and the other participants in the AUKUS agreement. Yes, we're seeing some saber rattling. I hear that Joe Biden has now decided he's going to ask the US Congress to make Australia a defense priority state. So essentially that means that we will be able to build US weapons here and or weapons technologies here and sell them around the world. Not just for ourselves, we are going to become a weapons producer with the full blessing of the United States Congress, because you cannot become a global weapons producer without it. You're not allowed just to go and make guns and sell them. So that's going to be a little bit interesting in the coming days, weeks, and months. I'm sure nothing moves fast in politics, but that's one that's going to be worth watching. Yeah, MK Ultra, Alan, you're right. MK Ultra. Well, they're going to try and get the chips in you. In fact, in Victoria at the moment, they're running a campaign. I've got the ad somewhere. I haven't got it in the system here, but I'll pull it and play it in a couple of days. They're running an ad at the moment where some young 20-something Asian girl is spruiking the benefits of having a chip put in here in the back of your hand, in this little fatty part here. Oh, it's so good. You just wave and it beeps and you go and you pay and it's just the benefits. Because carrying around a thin flat bit of plastic, is such a terrible weight of burden. But yeah, no, that's the big push. Come and go and get your chip. Come and get your chip. It'll be easy. And you know what? The kids will go and do it. Unless you stop them, your kids will go and do it. Because it's the new technology. We are the best adopters of new technology in the world, the fastest uptake in the world of new technology. And you can be damn sure that if the teachers in our schools are going to teach our kids about anal sex and how to suck a dick when they're 9 years of age, you can be damn sure they're going to say, you've got to get this chip put into your kids. It's going to be a great thing. Just imagine your future. Everything, all there, just be done. And then they'll come home and they'll want to go and get it chipped. And then the school will say, oh, that's all right. We're having a day. The doctors and the nurses are coming to the school. Everybody will get a chip that day. And you know what, folks? You don't have any rights. As soon as your kid goes into that school, they've got them. And there is legislation either in place or about to be put in place that says that the state can take your kids and make unilateral medical decisions for them while they're at school. You don't get a say. You won't even get a permission slip to sign. And the first thing you'll know about it, your kid will come home with a Band-Aid over their hand. So that's a conversation you're going to want to have with your teachers on parent-teacher night. That's a conversation you're going to want to go to the principal with. And if there is any kind of parents group in your school, I'd be going to that and standing up and asking for explanations. And what their intentions are. What is the intention of the Education Department? Interestingly, the WEF and the UN have just released a new educational directive for global education of children. And that is that they are going to start education of children on relationships and sexual relationships, partnerships, all that kind of thing, and sexual activity from preschool. Courses put in to teach littlies about hugging and kissing and how it's nice to have a friend like that and that it's okay if that friend is bigger and older than you. This is indoctrinating our kids into pedophilia. This is giving our kids to the pedophiles. And this is what the World Economic Forum and the UN are determining for our educators. And they'll get it. Because the softcocks in our education system are part of the WEF and part of the UN. They will gleefully embrace this. Some of those teachers, some of those principals, all of those educators that educating bureaucrats, let's say, in the education department, I'm going to make sure there's enough rope for every one of you. Every last fucking one of you. Do the artists need to be young? No, absolutely not, money. Do not care about age. If you are a talent, you're writing your own material and you're singing it and you can sing, I mean, please, I'll say it now, please, let's not have two cats fighting at these events, all right? If you want to come and sing, but please be able to sing, all right? This isn't, a bad Japanese karaoke night. We want to show talent, not people who want to be talent. If you want to be talent, we'll have another show for that. But these events are for people who sing, who know what they're doing, who are writing songs and are trying to get a go. And what we'll try and do is film every one of these events and film a film clip for you. So you give us the right to play the film clip without any YouTube issues, and we'll promote the hell out of it for you. You can write your own songs. We want to know about it. If you can sing your own songs, great. If you're a writer and you want to find someone who can sing, we will put you together. If you know how to write lyrics but couldn't write a note of music, we will help you find someone who can. That's what My Place is about. You will find everything you need at a My Place. And Michelle Palmer at Katoomba, I cannot wait to come to your place. It's absolutely spectacular. Thank you, Veronique. Love you dearly. And thank you for sticking your hand in your pocket for a sticker. I really appreciate it. Freezing wind too. Where are you, Linda? Had a freezing wind. Don't like freezing winds. They're a pain in the bum. I've got a fire outside that I should be getting back to. It's probably burnt out by now. Well, Daryl, you can always have a face-to-face chat with me, but you'll have to find me. I don't know where you are. So if I come close, come up and say good day. Love to see you. Saw a lot of people yesterday in Rockhampton, and the night before we went out for dinner in Yeppoon. Fabulous group of people at the Railway Hotel in Yeppoon. What a meal! Stunning meal. Last night at the Bavarian, pork knuckle. Wow. John had one for breakfast, so he did okay. Yeah, big night last night, though I only drank half that beer. If you saw my Facebook photo, I won't tell you how we wound up with the biggest glasses of beer in the place. We thought we were buying jugs. That's all I'll say. All right. Can't see too many other questions floating down around here, so I won't keep you hanging around too much longer on a Sunday night. All right, just to say, the QSI show tomorrow morning, 8 o'clock in the morning. I know, shit house, Monday morning, you've got to go to work, got to get the kids off, awful time. Don't worry about it. Just listen to it when you can. We will endeavour to try and fill in a few of the blanks and bring you up to date on whatever else we find. I don't know. I'm not completely sure. No, I'm not gonna preface anything. I think you're going to be pleasantly surprised or unpleasantly surprised, depending on your position, with what comes up in the QSI show tomorrow. And Vince has spent hours, days going into this. He has, in fact, I don't suppose I'm saying too much out of context if I was to say he has spent probably the better part of an entire week over the last 2 weeks looking into various different aspects of what we're going to discuss. He's had web pages open to show me for days that I haven't been able to get to. So yeah, there's a lot of work gone into this. So tomorrow, 8 a.m., Vince and I will put it down for you over the course of an hour or so. You have a listen, decide what you think for yourself. We're not going to tell you one way or the other. It's not my job to tell you what to do or how to do things. My job is to simply show you what I find, and you can make a decision from there. I'm happy to tell you how I feel about things, but that is in no way meant to push you in that same direction. I'm not about pushing people in directions. I'm simply about getting questions answered. And if I can ask the right question, then maybe we get a little bit more in the answer than we had earlier. Some feedback. Well, the only feedback I've got on that is I hope the copper is charged, and I believe he's been taken out of the police service, put on paid leave, and is facing some sort of investigation. There are 2 police involved. Only one of them pulled the taser. He was a senior constable, which strikes me as a little bit strange. Although the senior Connie who's been in a little bit longer, probably a little bit more indoctrinated, probably feeling a little bit more powerful than the Connie that was probably with him. So that lady, unfortunately, is receiving end-of-life care now in a hospital down in Victoria, New South Wales, wherever it happened. Her family are sitting at bedside watch waiting for her to die. They do not expect her to come out. She's unconscious as far as I know. The family have been very vocal and are continuing to be very vocal. The New South Wales police commissioner, whatever her name is, has pretty much come out and said, we are never going to go and see the body camera vision by the police, so we're not going to see what actually happened and how threatening this 95-year-old woman carrying a steak knife and on a walker was. I mean, I don't know how any person could justify using that level of force on a 95-year-old dementia patient who's on a walker and happens to be holding a steak knife. Now, she had a machete. All right, maybe. But she had a steak knife. Did she even know it was a steak knife? Did she? How would you know? We don't know what her dementia state is like. For all she knows, she could have been carrying a bit of sausage. Carrying her handbag. It could have been anything. But clearly that senior constable, only about probably 60 years younger than her, felt threatened enough to tase her. I don't know how fast 95-year-old women move on walkers, but I would have thought you'd have enough time to evade her waving a steak knife around. And I'm pretty confident that had an officer gone around from behind her, she would have forgotten they got there, could have come from behind her and disarmed her reasonably easily and without breaking her wrist or her arm or her shoulder or throwing her face first into the ground. No, just hit her with 50,000 volts or whatever it is and have her writhe around on the fucking floor. I hope that copper goes a row. If she dies, I hope he's charged with manslaughter. I do not see how he has any way of avoiding a manslaughter charge other than friends in the fucking force. If she dies, I cannot see any way he can avoid that charge. And that body camera footage will be very important evidence. So whatever the New South Wales Commissioner says, we'll see it. Might take a few years, but we'll see it. Sunflower. I said earlier tonight that Charlie is going into hospital. He's had an MRI scan, and he's not going into hospital. No, he says he's quite well, and he's just going to have a break for a couple of weeks. Okay, that's what I've heard. The poisoning thing doesn't seem to have been a thing, but gee, it's a great story, isn't it? Yeah, it doesn't seem to be a thing. I can't see Charlie Ward being poisoned. If Charlie Ward is as important as Charlie Ward would have us believe he is, if he has such deep knowledge of Nasara, Jassara, the quantum financial system, all that sort of stuff, he'd have food tasters. All of those people are going to be looked after, particularly if they are global mouthpieces like he is. Wouldn't it be great if you could slip him a Mickey? But Nobody gets it. Look, if you were going to get poisoned, if somebody was going to poison you, they would give you enough poison to kill you, not send you to hospital with a headache. That's pretty much what's happened. So yeah, I don't think he's been poisoned. I'm not saying that there's not anything wrong with him, but I am saying it's an interesting time to go sick, isn't it? For a couple of weeks. Just saying. Deborah, God gave us free will. Thank you. They are the words I was looking for and really couldn't find, Deborah. Yes, God gave us free will. Yeah. The industrial complex has a lot to do with our current faith levels, I would agree. Camillo, can you just confirm for me, mate, that it's June the 3rd for the Nambour meeting? And if you want to put it up in the chat where the address is going to be, I think it was the 3rd. And if I don't have to be in court that day, I'll come up for that, Camillo. The flight app shows military aircraft flying between Melbourne, Sydney and Brisbane to Guam and back over the last few days. Interesting you bring this one up, Camillo. We've actually been tracking a number of Australian military jets that have been flying from different places in Australia, Sydney, Brisbane, Darwin, and going via Hawaii to Washington, D.C. Aircraft are on the ground maybe 12 hours before turning around and coming back the other way. Interestingly, there are also flights within hours of the Australian flight landing at Dulles in Washington, or Washington, D.C., I'll keep reminding myself, that an aircraft takes off and heads to Guantanamo. Interesting. Could they be shuttle flights? Could there be renditions happening in Australia as we speak? We hope. We really do hope. If so, who are they taking? And who are we watching? So I think I've seen a few people looking a little bit squirmish around those sorts of questions. Well, Vince is in the chat. So there you go, folks. You can put your hand up and thank Vince because he has done a huge amount of work on this QSI stuff. And tomorrow morning, 8 o'clock, we will do what we can to get it all out. All right. I think I've answered just about all the questions I can see. Gilgandra. Mate, that's a part of the world I haven't been to in a while. Yeah, why not? Bit of a drive down the Newell. I'm up for that, or a drive back up the Newell. Yeah, Gilgandra, lovely part of the world. I think I've stayed in Gilgandra once or twice too over the years. Did a show with Col Elliott in Gilgandra too, from memory, when I was his tour manager years ago. Yep, lovely part of the world. Also, Keefe, nice to see you in. Hi, Dave. Sheridan. Christoph, I didn't say hello to you earlier. Linda's in too. Can't see anybody else asking me any questions. Oh. Anyone interested to start at my place in Cambodia? I can tell you there is a lot of interest in starting my place outside Australia. I will put Cambodia forward. We would need a Cambodian contact, Char. Is that you? If so, send me an email, carl@vofhq.com, and I will make sure that the right people get it. Cooma. God, how bloody cold in Cooma. I went to Cooma once. They tried to employ me at the radio station, and the day I went to Cooma for the interview, it snowed, and I knew I wasn't taking a job at the radio station, regardless of what they were offering. But beautiful part of the world. Beautiful part of the world. Also, having a bit of a glance down. Hello, Michelle Bradley Smith. I waved at you when we flew over. I can't see any more questions. My 96-year-old nan used to lose the plot when she got a bladder infection. How dangerous was she, Sandra, with a steak knife? Did she lose the plot that badly? I'm just saying. I realise bladder infection can be pretty painful, so it'd probably drive me up the wall. No, it doesn't look like there's too many more questions. Accessory to murder for the rest of them. Yeah, that's Freeze, I'm with you. The secondary policeman should be charged with, well, certainly accessory to whatever the charge is. He should have counselled his other officer, and they must have found something. Or they should have found a different way. Even if that meant calling in another police car and 4 coppers coming at her. They all wear stab vests, the police, right? So even if she was fast enough to stab one in the chest, it wouldn't get through. So, okay, yes, you can cut a hand or an arm or an artery, yes, I understand all that. A 95-year-old dementia patient with a knife. The question I am just having dawn in my head is, how many 95-year-olds do you know that have the teeth to eat steak? How many 95-year-olds with dementia would be cutting up their own steak to eat it? Starting to think this is looking like a false flag somewhere. Not a false flag, because there's going to be a 95-year-old dead woman in the not too distant future because of it. But yeah, this is certainly looking like a very bad outcome for the police. And Pineapple, you're 100% right. The police are cowards. But we know the police are cowards. They think themselves very tough when they've got their guns and they've got their stab vests and they've got their batons and they've got their rubber bullets. They're very tough then. Very, very important. If you get approached by a police officer, ask them if they have a warrant card. A warrant card. If they don't have a warrant card, they could be in a bit of trouble. And that's one of the things that I was learning today through the Anti-Corruption Academy in Rockhampton. Stuff that we'll show you on Tuesday night in the interview that I recorded today. Yes, false flags do still kill people. You're right, Marnie. I just don't think a false flag is quite the right term for what they've done to this 95-year-old woman. Interestingly, I haven't seen, that's not to say that there haven't been, but I haven't seen any public commentary from the family. I have heard that the police are talking to the family and the commissioner has been to the bedside and all that sort of crap. But yeah, there's a lot of weird shit going in there. Camillo. Yeah, of course. So it's very hard for dementia patients, particularly if it's at an advanced level. They don't know what they're doing. They wouldn't know if it was a steak knife or a straw they were holding in their hand at the end of the day. And they're just as likely to try and drink through the steak knife as they are through the straw. So, yeah, I just think it's a classic overreaction, a true brutal show of force from an out-of-touch police force. Not just an out-of-touch copper. It's an out-of-touch police force. Have you watched how that New South Wales Police Commissioner is making excuses for her people? Bitch. Yeah. So let's see the bastards in jail. Let's see them on a charge, because that's what it needs to be. Right now, causing grievous bodily harm is probably where the charge should sit right now. But if that woman dies, or should I say when that woman dies, and then it will be dependent on what they find killed her. Oh, no, the dementia killed her. She was 95. It was old age. Oh, look, she only got a cold yesterday. She got COVID. It killed her. It'll be everything else but 50,000 watts of electricity being passed through her. It's filthy. And don't quote me on 50,000 volts or watts or whatever. I don't know what charge they have in there. It's enough to turn you into a flopping fish on the ground. And when you're 95-year-old, yeah, not good. Excessive force resulting in death. Yeah. If that's a charge. Got to remember, we just can't make up names for things like the police do. We've actually got to have a real charge, not one they decide they're going to make up on the day and hasn't been legislated by their government. So, yeah. All right, folks, going to love you and leave you for tonight. I've been going for an hour, and I said I was only going to come on for 10 minutes. So I'm sorry we couldn't do the QSI thing tonight. There is just a bit more information that I want to go and sort out and have something up my sleeve for tomorrow, because Vince is the man who knows everything. Tomorrow morning, 8 o'clock with Vince, and we will get into the QSI show and try and explain a little bit about what's going on. I did see a question there quickly. What's a warrant card? What a very good question, Paul. A warrant card is something every police officer must hold if he wants to call himself a police officer. However, maybe not in their corporate system. But if they were to arrest you and they weren't the owner of a warrant card, that's a serious offence. Just between you, me, and the gatepost. When you punch a cop, you go to jail, but when a cop kills a person, they get exonerated. Yep. That's pretty much how it works. I've actually heard of coppers who have taken the bait, if you like, taken the uniform off and decided to come up to people and have fisticuffs intentions and have been put on their ass. 2 days later, they're back in uniform knocking on the door with a warrant. That's the kind of weak pricks they are. Weak pricks. Anyway, folks, love you very much. Couldn't do this show without you. And the support that we get when we go to places like Rockhampton and, well, everywhere I go, we are overwhelmed with the love and the support, the encouragement that we get from everybody. So thank you so much again to everybody in Rockhampton and Yeppoon. The last couple of days have been absolutely magnificent. I haven't spent 2 nights in Rocky since about 1993, and we had a great night. We had 2 great nights, can I just say. And met some wonderful, wonderful people, now part of our family. And you can be part of our family. We're happy to come to your place. We're all in this together, folks. So I just can't wait to come around and meet all of you. Every last one. We are going to unify, folks. We are going to be together. We are going to be shoulder to shoulder. And we will beat these bastards. We will.
You let one ant stand up to us, then they all might stand up. Those puny little ants outnumber us 100 to 1. And if they ever figure that out, there goes our way of life. It's not about food. It's about keeping those ants in line. That's why we're going back. Does anybody else want to stay? Let's rock!